Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 167 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It is the weekly edition and we are in the shop again today. And I've got something cool to show you. So, if you want to see what that is, all you need to do is stay tuned. Yes, I'm in the shop briefly today. I'm going to head outside and work. It's before lunch on a Tuesday. But yesterday, I have a guitar. I'll call him a student that comes here and works every once in a while. He was gifted the parts and the wood for a guitar for all the help he's done with other people. And I agreed to be the mentor to guide him through the process. So it's been really fun to work with Matt. He's an awesome person. And we've had a lot of fun. So yesterday he was here and yeah, we didn't have the day we wanted. We're doing what's that guitar called again? A Gibson Maverick? Anyway, something like that. The Gibson joint into the body is a little different, and things weren't going really well yesterday, but I think we got it in the end. But anyway, that aside, it's fun to work with, and we have a great time. So I thought, well, we basically did some work yesterday, and well, there's something that I haven't shown you guys yet that I can show you. And today, but my fretboard, my fret slot jigs and saw that I do that with. So stick around. I'm going to show you how I use this thing. And maybe if you're starting out in, building guitars, it might be something that you might be interested in. Now, when I look at Instagram and watch all the guitar builders on there, and there are many of them, and I really like Sheldon Dingwall's stuff because to me, it's just amazing stuff. But there's lots of builders on Instagram, and the level of guitar work that they do is amazing. It's a really, really good goal to strive towards. But when you're starting, you don't have that big investment or you want to do things for a hobby. That's kind of the avenue I took when I set this up for the school. Remember, I did most of this, setting this all up before the internet. So I had to read books and learn from books and have some friends along the way. But once you get to the point where you understand what you need to do, you can start doing some of your own things. So I haven't seen anybody with a little sliding compound like this doing fret slots. I'm sure it exists because there's really nothing new. But I'm just going to show you what I did and how it all works. So hang in there. I'll be right back. Well, this is the core, I guess, of my fret slotting technology here. A little bit of an unlikely core. This is a 7¼ inch cobalt sliding compound miter saw. Why cobalt? Because it was the cheapest I could find at the time. So remember, I set up all this guitar building stuff for the school shop for kids on my dime. I mean, that's why it's in my shop now, because it is all mine. But I was doing other things at the time, and it just started getting expensive. And I know at the time, Makita was building a nice one. I think even Milwaukee may have. I'm not sure. But I didn't look at those because they were expensive, and this was cheap. And for the amount of use it gets, it's fine. It works. But what makes this work so well is, first of all, where do you cut the slot? Well, that's set up on an indexing system. So this is my 25½ inch scale. Okay, I've laid this out. This is where all the frets are. This is laid out as perfectly as I could do it. And I own a 24-inch digital caliper, so it should be quite accurate. But anyway, so what happens is This line here, this is a cut, fits exactly onto this piece of thin steel that I have inserted into this deck. So to use this, I just slide it on there like that. There is absolutely no play, because that's what you're hearing, that's the stand, which may change here too. One of the things you're probably noticing by now is there's all kinds of cuts in here. Well, unfortunately, over the years, this jig has been moved at times. And sometimes, I guess I didn't take the care of getting these slots lined up properly. But it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is these here, because it will cut relative to the others once you start indexing, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so I made these. I have several scales. I have a 24 and 5/8, I guess, more of a Gibson scale. I have a ukulele scale, and I think there's one more. But this has worked really well. Now, critics of this, when you're teaching guitar, critics of this will say, well, you know, you're not laying anything out. You don't really need to know the fretting constant or nothing. So, yeah, that's true. But to build a guitar with high school students, in my opinion, there is simply way too much content to get them through that in the time allotted. So I tried to take a lot of the thinking out of it for them so we could go to a tool and we could concentrate on the cutting. Yeah, I talked about this. I told them the fretting constant, 17.817. Yes, I know it. But we've done some calculations with kids, but we didn't use it to shop. And then the other thing is, too, you're kind of, in a way, since you're promoting the project, you've signed on to maybe guarantee the student some level of it'll be correct in the end. And all it takes is a small math mistake, and you've got frets that are out. So this worked. This worked. One other thing that I should mention, I have this plugged in. This is kind of dangerous what I'm doing, but the blade. This is a Stuart McDonald's fret slotting blade that they sell. I really need to buy another one, but they're so horrendously expensive that I haven't done that yet. But this one, it definitely needs to be sharpened again. So yeah, and I shouldn't be touching the blade with it plugged in. Yes, I know that. But anyway, that's the blade I use. That's got the correct curve for the right width. I think it's 23 thousandths, I think. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Go to Stuart McDonald's website and look at it. It's there. The other thing that I use this for is I don't really use this to cut the slot to the perfect depth right away. So really what I'm using this for is as a way to mark where the frets go. And then, where did I put it? It's over there. It's off camera. I'll bring it in the next segment. I have Stuart McDonald's hand fretting saw that matches all this, and it's got a plastic depth gauge on it. So then students can take their board off of here, and they can finish the slot to the right depth for the fret wire we're using, which is, Stuart McDonald 128? I gotta check. 148, yeah. So that's what we're doing, and it works really, really good. So you know what? We've talked about this enough. I'm going to show you how this works. So I'll be right back. Yeah, this is the fret saw that I was talking about in the previous part of this video. So it's got a plastic thing here that you can set to the right depth. And then once the saw or the fretboard comes off this saw, the students take it and then they can cut the radius because the fretboard is radiused at this time. So, and it works really well. Students can fret their fretboards pretty much on their own, which in a multi-activity shop is really important. So I'm just going to set this down here, and we're going to get the jig out, and we're going to start slotting a fretboard. Now I have this one here from the demo I did 2 videos ago where we radiused it on my fancy radiusing tool. Okay, these fretboards are all about 2 inches longer than they need to be. And on the way I have this set up, the first cut here cuts the nut. Not the width of the nut, just the very start of the scale length, if you know what that means. But what we usually do on a fender, because often the nut is incorporated into the fretboard, we'd cut a slot and put the nut in there. And then I might cut both sides of this and carefully, or maybe even make several curves to get that out and flatten it with a small chisel. A Gibson, we would just cut it off there because usually the acoustic that we made, the nut would sit on the neck itself, not on the fretboard. But anyway, enough explaining. Normally, I would have good double side tape on here, and I put this in. Oh, and I have this backwards. That's what happens when you start talking to the camera and forget about things. You have it marked. And that's a good idea, too, with all your jigs. Make sure you mark them so you know what's going on. Now, better tape would work good, but this isn't going to matter much, and this fretboard will never be used in anything. So what I would do is, and you would probably want to check the depth on each cut. So let's say I wanted to check the depth. I would move it over just like that, and then here we go. Got to watch the blade. Okay, I don't think that's quite deep enough yet. It's close, but the last little bit we'll do by hand. So the depth is good. Okay, so let's set this up and let's cut a few slots anyway. Okay, so that's good now, and away we go. So I'm going to start the saw. There's one. You move it over, push it tight to the fence, make sure it's indexed properly, and then the other one. Okay. Oh, jeepers. That isn't too bright of me. Okay, let's say that happens and you lose your brain for a second and you lift the fretboard without lifting. There, I just re-indexed it. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that I move the whole thing. There we go. Yeah, got to make sure it's indexed. Oops. Oops, jumped over one there. Oh, like okay, yeah, that's 21 frets. Yeah, there's I have it. This is marked for 22 frets, but you need to be careful when you're doing a 22 fretboard to make sure it fits on your guitar and the scale length, and that everything's adjustable to accommodate that extra fret. But anyway, okay, so basically that's it. I'm just going to change camera a little bit so that we can see this a little better. Well, there it is. It's slotted. Now I've taken the time to do this setup, like it is cutting square, the depth is set right, and all these things were done in advance. So when a student came up to this saw, all they had to do was cut the slots. Now, what we would normally do next is take it out of the jig, and they would go to a proper workbench and maybe even tape this down to a piece of MDF or plywood about the same size, maybe 3/4 of an inch thick, and tape it to the bench. And then they put the saw in and just finish off. And I'm doing it poorly on the table here or on the saw itself. And we would have never done that, but I just did that to demonstrate. And then we would have exactly the right depth, and all the kids could do this. That was the key thing. So I'm not trying to say that this is the best way to do it. There's a million ways to do this. They're indexing jigs for table saws. I had this set up on a radial arm saw before I did this. And yeah, I found myself in a strange place in the school shop when they changed all the equipment and renovated that I was actually arguing to keep my radial arm saw. They looked at me like I was nuts, and I was, but then I found this, and this seems to work really good. And it's portable, so it's easy to move around. So anyway, yeah, this is just another way. Guitar building is so much fun to get into. You just lose yourself in it. Like it's fussy, and yet humans can do it. So the level of fussy that you need to achieve is doable. Yeah, your first one probably won't be as good as your 10th one, but that's the learning curve. So if you have some things set up, this can be done. If you want to do this, yeah, there's ways you can do this even cheaper than this, is just take your ruler and lay them out. Uh, my friend who got me into this, that's what he always did. He just had a 64th graduated ruler, and he laid out his frets that way. So, like I say, there's a million ways to do it. This saw didn't cost much at the time. It was like I don't think it was $150, maybe around there. And then this is just all MDF stuff, scraps, a little bit of Baltic birch that I used to make the platform here, and then making the jigs. Now, when I was doing this in my early days, I had a very good friend who was a machinist, and everything he did was super, super accurate. By the time I was doing these, I don't think he was helping with that anymore. But by then I purchased, like I said, a 24-inch digital caliper, and I laid those out with that. So I'm quite confident this is good. The other thing that I did is I bought some meter sticks or yardsticks, and my machinist buddy made marks along that ruler, and those things are accurate. So if I need to check a scale length and fret placement, I just put that ruler on there and I can see if it's perfect. And I come to think of it, I think it was those rulers I used to make these. So anyway, they did get made and they work really well. And like I say, I just encourage you, if you're trying to get into some of these habits, I know things look expensive, and then to compound the matter, you go on Instagram and you see all this wonderful work. Like, my goodness, some of those guys building guitars now, they've just really taken it to the next level. So watch them and realize that maybe that's where you're heading. But you can make perfectly fine instruments on your own at home, stringed instruments. I don't think we're going to get into heating metal and making a tuba. That's not going to happen on this channel anyway. Maybe on your channel. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this. It works really good. I had 3 students cut fretboards this last year. They all had no problems. It was just, I demonstrated one just to make sure the depth was right, and away they went. It takes a few minutes. Well, I did this in real time, so when I edit, I'll know exactly how long it takes. But anyway, that brings this video to an end. So yeah, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. There's a lot going on in my life right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to continue the 2 a week, but I'm going to try. And if that works out, wonderful. And if it doesn't, well, just keep watching when I post stuff. So anyway, like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the weekend edition, hopefully.